Hello everyone, I'm Atira Minuddin and you are tuning into Wacana Podcast. Today is a new episode and today we are doing a Wacana Podcast with a significant senior journalist, editor, former editor in the journalism industry. I'm pretty sure everyone is familiar with him. We are doing this episode today in conjunction with Hari Wartawan Nasional, which is happening on May 29th. And today we are joined with Kamarul Bahrin Haron, or better known as Chikam.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, was that a good introduction?
Of course.
Yes. How are you doing,
Whenever
Chikam?
you're introduced by a young lady in journalism in Malaysia, it's always good.
I have to admit, I feel a little bit intimidated.
Don't be, because this is not an interview. You promised me that this will be
so it's going to be like a chit chat.
a two-generation chit chat of
Okay.
a journalist's
So
point
I'm-
of view. Yeah.
Well, I'm intimidated, but I'm also excited to see your
Sure.
input because clearly I'm new to the industry and you are very, very experienced. And we also want to know your stories, the things that you have since we're having the Hari Wartawan Nasional next week.
Correct.
Yeah, so we just want to talk about, mainly our focus today is on media freedom
Sure.
in Malaysia.
Yep.
Given your experience, can you comment a little bit on how is the media freedom in Malaysia?
Well, I wish you had joined Awani when I was editor-in-chief, so then I don't have to explain so much, you would have known. But since you didn't, because like the time has changed so much, like you're a graduate of media and journalism from Nottingham, like Nottingham Trent, like wow. I'm just a graduate from University of Science Malaysia, or across the sea, but you know, Penang Bridge and all. But what I'm trying to say is, if you look at the collective backgrounds and trainings and skills of young journalists and editors that we have, wow, amazing. But what do you use it for? And in that context, that I would like to go into the discussion of media freedom, especially locally, because to me, I'm not interested to discuss and waste people's time to discuss media freedom as an absolute on its own thing.
Yeah.
Because in this country, it's so easy to debunk that by saying, what's such thing? Colloquially, it can be said in the pasar as, mana ada kebebasan mutlak? Who have absolute freedom? But we're not at that level. We are both trained journalists. I'm the less relevant, you're the more relevant. Because you're the future generation also, the current and the future. So the question we should be discussing about media freedom is, why would more exciting, talented, well-qualified young talents join the media industry locally if we are still talking about media freedom, do we have it or not, from a very traditional perspective? To elucidate that point, for example, me personally, I'm a bit sad if for Hari Wartawan Nasional, because Hari Wartawan, the inspiration was from Indonesia. That's my perception. Because during my time, we're quite close. We even went to Indonesia, the editors and reporters here to Indonesia. They are more boisterous and they had a more rigorous fight for media freedom there. They paid with it with blood. Here we are more sedate, but that doesn't mean we are not as passionate. So if we look at Indonesia, they can have a live talk show where the minister refused to come, but they put the name there anyway, and the anchor just asked the question she wanted to ask anyway, and then fill in the gaps themselves.
Yes.
Imagine doing that in Malaysia.
You think it's possible?
I don't know. I've been out for about 2 years from a newsroom or TV station, but would any current newsroom in Malaysia do that right now? In that light, we should discuss media freedom, because one is self-censorship. That one we can control. We, the journalists, the editors, the media practitioners. But the other one, the ecosystem. Why are there acts or acta or rules and regulation in our constitution that was born or were born pre-independence during colonial emergency, darurat times, still existing either in its entirety or in a modified pindaan way. I mean, okay, fine, if you were to have rules anyway, but what's there to empower? I give an analogy of education, sistem pendidikan. Di sekolah sekarang, we talk a lot about higher order thinking skill, kebat, kemahiran berfikir aras tinggi. Meaning, all the rules, pakaian seragam, uniforms, or attendance, punctuality are still there. But the world has moved on where we need students to be thinking on their own. Where is the same imperative for media and creative content? I mean, we demand more excellence. We say, oh, we have the best actress at Academy Award, but our movies, our creative content, then shouldn't we look at our ecosystem?
Yeah.
What to enable? So, I haven't seen laws and restrictions making people creative. I mean, people argue Iran, but why do you want to use cane when you can use rewards? And in a democracy like ours, we should be having a lot of support. But if you look at it, more than 2,000 people, if you look at many reports, since, let's say, 2-3 years ago, since 2000, even before the pandemic, of media practitioners, of journalists, editors, and supporting services, they have lost their jobs because of the downsizing of big traditional media institutions. And yet, when a politician suddenly found themselves out of a job, they can get a media job. So, as an old media person, still not having a regular job and just sitting at home, so I'm thinking something is wrong. So bila Hari Wartawan Nasional kita bercakap tentang kebajikan, pengamal media dan wartawan,
and all that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then also ethics. Okay, let me talk about ethics a bit. I don't know about you, but when you choose Sinar and Karangkram, is it because of ethics? I don't think so. When you choose Sinar and Karangkram, you want to go to a place where you think you can contribute the most as a journalist. Because when you graduate, you have all this idealism.
Yes.
And contrary to many people, I don't think idealism is a bad thing. I still have the same idealism when I graduated from Minden in Pulau Pinang, which is USM Journalism School, which started in 1969 until now, producing graduates. I still have the same idealism, but I temper it with reality, with common sense, and with the imperative of the organization I work for. Yeah, we have to get revenue. However, the main business of a journalist and a media practitioner should just be one thing. And that one thing is to help make society better. Apa gunanya kita jadi wartawan tapi rakyat kita merana? Apa gunanya kita jadi wartawan dan pengarang dan rakyat kita merintih? Gaji rasanya makin kurang kuasa beli tetapi kos semuanya semakin meningkat. Kitalah kena berada di tengah itu. Kitalah kena bawa rintihan rakyat ni pergi kepada siapa juga yang kuasa. Saya bukan hanya bercakap tentang kerajaan. It's not just about government. It's also, we know the market is a big factor. And in the market, there's local players, there's international chain. We must talk. We must talk about all this. And to talk is the main weapon of journalism because journalism deals with fact, truth, and disseminating it across.
But then again, when you said about the government, we're not entirely blaming the government, but I'm pretty sure myself and my colleagues and other journalists in the industry, they want to make the change after they graduate or maybe they enter a company. Yes. They want to make that change, but somehow there are restrictions. There are maybe perhaps, like you said, censorship. Do you think it's possible for us, like you said, I'm the future generation, to penetrate that barrier?
Okay, look at it this way. Okay, maybe the country is so huge, right? Let's scope down the discussion to a family. Can you ever get past your father and mother? Who lays down the rule in a household? It's your parents. As long as you're the daughter, no matter whichever way you slice it, you will always be subject to authority. The same thing for a journalist. You'll be subject to the companies, as a governing authority for your workplace. You'll be subjected to the industry, governing authority, you'll be subjected to the regulators like KKD. So, for me, the way I approach it personally is, what can I do? Is the glass half full and half empty? I prefer to look at what I can do first. Then, when I've used the maximum of what I can do, then only look at what you cannot do. But when you look at what you cannot do, it's not to stop. When you look at what you cannot do, how can I go beyond that? Water will flow where water wants to flow. That's water imagined truth. The whole premise of religion is about seeking truth and enlightenment. So isn't that powerful? Yeah. What's a few laws made by men? And that's laws. What about implementation of laws? Even more flawed. We always talk in this country about enforcement. Why? Because it's not that easy to enforce the law. So if even laws are just done by man, what more enforcement? Imagine carrying the messages of God, of the truth. Isn't that powerful?
Yeah.
So why should we let anyone stop us? Imagine people like Gandhi, Mandela fighting great odds. Imagine our forefathers since the subjugation of the Portuguese, then the Dutch, the Spanish, whatever, and then the long-term period of the very insidious British East India Company, divide and rule and all that. What a sad thing, like I started. We're still carrying the laws and the spirit of the laws of the colonials. If their laws are so great, are their countries doing so well? How many times have Britain changed their prime minister? So we shouldn't feel too bad, right?
Yeah,
but
to compare.
But even I, the not so young, don't want to compare to the one lesser. We should be comparing to the one better.
Yes.
And that's what we taught religion-wise or culture-wise. So when we talk about freedom of the press, my question is very clear. I want to look at the camera when I say this because that's how I'm trained. What are there to help me as a journalist? Especially as an independent outside a newsroom or organization. So, if you want to think and do good for Hari Wartawan Nasional 2023, you have to answer that question. Don't just help people who are there you can see. Like I said, thousands of media practitioners have lost their jobs since the last few years, compounded by COVID. And when you work as a journalist, it's not as easily you can migrate to another industry. People have this perception against media practitioners and for media practitioners. So they think if they take you in, you only have these skills and that skill and that skill. When it should be the other way around. Journalists deals with data. And this is the age where data is important.
It's the most valuable.
So why are we suffering? I mean, if you can have specific initiative program, even GLCs, to help the veterans of the armed forces and the police, what about the journalists? We don't fight with guns.
Work for the people.
We fight with our pen. We fight with our keyboards, with our keypads on our smart mobile devices because we want to update you every single second of the day. Many people that I know in the media have sacrificed their lives and their families to do this. I'm not saying that we are better off morally than any other profession, but I'm saying we are no lesser and we are no less important. So that's how I see it.
Okay, and then I'm going to take another example. Let's take RTM as an example, right? It is owned by the government, and the fact that when you say it's owned by the government and it's a media agency, it should not be under one roof because it's going to create a very biased opinion, and shouldn't media agencies be independent?
Put it this way, if we are at near where the trend is flowing and we talk about this, it will take a different gravitas.
Okay.
Why? Because that's United Kingdom. They also have BBC.
Yeah.
That's their RTM. But what's the difference? The difference is not in ownership for me. Anybody can own anything. I mean, we subscribe to free market capitalism to an extent, right? So takkanlah kita nak buat undang-undang hanya orang macam ni aja boleh memiliki media. Can never be done.
Yeah.
The governance is more important. Like whoever owns the media must adhere to a certain set of principles. The problem is propaganda is acknowledged, either directly or indirectly. I mean, I don't know about your journalism school. My journalism school years ago, my lecturers, please don't scold me, taught me about Hans Goebbels and how propaganda was used to spread Nazism.
Yeah.
And we know millions of people died for World War II. Even way before that, when news was first invented, not printing presses, but newsreel for broadcasting, and you love broadcasting, when the first Arriflex camera, I think it was Bolex at that time, 3 different lens that you switch, like that, no sound. Sound had to be recorded maybe
separately.
Players like Nagra or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was World War I. But because it was war, it was used only for one side information, which we know as propaganda. Centuries later, more than 100 years later, why are we still using propaganda? Propaganda means only one side, never two sides to a coin, and only saying good things about one side. So anybody can own RTM. Okay, government owns RTM, and my friends are there. Okay, but put it this way, one of the best cameramen I ever worked when I was in TV3 was a former RTM cameraman. So I have no issues. My issue is with, it is the 21st century. We shouldn't look at propagandic intentions. To me, RTM should be the benchmark. They should, for any issue, two sides of the coin. But if you want to be heavy on the government side, yes, I understand that. But give the other side of the coin also. Yes. For example, what is Masyarakat Madani? Sinar is supposed to help us understand? I don't think so. Hawana is supposed to help us understand? No. I don't know. But RTM for sure.
Yes.
So, how do we have Masyarakat Madani in a public listed company? How do we have Masyarakat Madani in the fourth industrial revolution? How do we have Masyarakat Madani at bola sepak? You know, Madani to me, Madani carries a lot of literal definition with civil society, right? Except for the Islamic side of it, for me. So, but when I go to any football match locally, to me that's Madani. Because even though politically we're told that we are different, but no matter what race and religion you are, Harimau Melaya is just Harimau Melaya.
Yes. You would unite.
Yeah, it doesn't matter race, gender, religion. You know, a young, very attractive lady spilled drinks on me, but I don't care because we celebrated the goal.
Yeah.
And it's good for me to have stains that reminds me of that good time. So, what's our problem? Our problem is when politically only interested propagandic material, in other shows I would have called it filth, but never mind, materials here. This is Sinar, have standard, Sinar daily. So, that divides so cruelly. Isn't it cruel when you just homogenize a group of people? You are Malay, so you are like this. You are Chinese, you are like this. You are Borneo, Iban, you are like this. In the 21st century? Like, how does that work? And you want to talk about ethics and Hari Wartawan National? The greatest influencer of content online, is it journalism-based outfits? Wouldn't it be politics and political? And they have tons of money. Election campaign or whatever, it can be funded. That's why you hear these war rooms and whatever. What do you call bloggers that write for politics? I don't know, I forgot the term. So political bloggers, for example. I remember, and Hari Wartawan National is good to remind us of our elders and seniors, right? I'm your senior, but I also have seniors, like Arwah Pak Non. Pak Zainon Ahmad was, to me, one of the best editors and journalists we ever had in this country. Malangnya, dia hanya dapat anugerah tokoh wartawan posthumously. So that's the problem we have. But never mind. That's just my view. But when I was a talk show anchor and editor, I made sure that on the day that he passed away, that night, I changed all my topic. I only wanted to discuss him. But it's not about him. He represented what journalism is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And he doesn't drive 250,000 German-made cars or whatever. So I remember him saying, he called me Cam also, surprisingly. Cam, hari tu Pak Non pergi parlimen. And bila kat parlimen, Pak Non dulu duduk kat kantin lah. So Pak Non pun tengah buat cerita, tulis apa semua. Pak Non tengok, orang muda-muda pada Pak Non ni. Phone baru, laptop baru, mahal. Lepas tu Pak Non, bagus jadi wartawan lah. Jadi wartawan lah boleh macam-macam bagus-bagus punya barang boleh ambil. I'm paraphrasing a bit. I can't remember the exact. Pak Non speaks way better than me. So he said, lepas tu, Pak Non, kami bukan wartawan. Habis apa semua ni semua? Kami blogger.
Wow.
So Pak Non related this to me. We were on a trip somewhere. But what that struck me at that time was, here I am, me and Pak Non, cut from the same cloth of the old traditional journalists, and that was the change. And that change is real, even more real now. Why aren't more funding and money going to real journalists and real newsroom? I mean, I'm not asking for subsidy, but I'm saying, dalam rancangan Malaysia ke-12, ke-13, ke-14 ke, atau rancangan Malaysia untuk 2050 ke, dalam dulu ada WKB, Wawasan Kemakmuran Bersama, or now in the Madani. Where is the economic policy that addresses creative content, media and journalism?
Yes, I agree.
If Silicon Valley can come up with Facebook and whatnot, if China can come up with TikTok, because we now understand with digital platform is almost everything. That's why it's called a platform economy. Or almost say the B word there before, but never mind. So, kita forever we want to be end users and we want to influence the world. If I'm not mistaken, must forgive me, one, I'm old. Second, I think I've got long COVID, so pardon me. But I think Datel came out with a statistic that they garnered from somewhere and put together that either 2021 or 2022, the SME expenditure on social media platform like Facebook is what? More than 2 billion, 2.5?
That's a lot. It's not a small number.
If Sinar gets 10% of that, you'll be wearing Rolex and I'll be looking at that.
I'll be driving the German car.
So platform matters. But it's not in our national economic plan.
Yes.
So what, media is not important?
Given that you said that everything's digital now, the platform, social media, all the news, the first thing they want to do is go viral on social media to share, to be the first one to tweet on a video or something like that. But do you think that our industry is adapting?
It's about relevance. I know it's so hard to think it the way I'm going to say it, but it doesn't matter how it reaches me. I just want to be in the know. Right? If Mid Valley fire happened at 10:10 in the morning, I want to know at 10:59 seconds. Right?
Yeah.
So tak kisahlah dia datang TikTok ke whatever, it comes here at the phone or tablet. I want to see it. So that's how powerful platform is.
Do you think our country's industry, media industry, news industry, is adapting with the time?
Are we even thinking of doing our own platform?
Are we?
Do you think we are lacking in terms of having programmers or AI experts?
Of course.
Or even money, now that we know that money can, travel in handbags and jewelries and stuff and yachts.
I mean, my generations are migrating overseas.
Well, I'm not correcting you, but I'm just saying, Even during my time, that has been happening.
Yes.
And before
Even
my
more,
time.
maybe now.
Yeah, so it's not a zero-sum game. That's why I say, are we even thinking of technology ecosystem? Because I was a talk show anchor once and also editor and editor-in-chief. So I had the privilege to dictate some of the topics that I was going to talk about. So I was guilty of having many discussions on air about Estonia and e-government. 99.9% of government services in Estonia is online. You know when Estonia was independent?
No.
Guess. After Malaysia. So it must be after 57.
Maybe in the 70s?
1991.
Oh.
And
It was
if
like
you look
32
at the
years ago.
ranking of digital, or even e-government for more specifically, they are in the top 5. We had independence in 1957. I'm not so good in mathematics that I got A all the time, but I can do my math. 4 over decades from Malaysia, and yet they can do it. Why? Political will, right mindset. Where is the political will and the mindset to help make journalists, editors, media practitioners better, not by giving subsidy, but by really putting the best of our thinkers together and looking at this as an industry professionally and say, we want to be one of the best in the media industry of the world, including creative content, whatever it is. 5-second video to 3-hour feature movies, let's do it. You know what K-pop and K-drama, you must know, right?
Yes, of course.
Are you an ARMY?
No, I'm not. Don't come for me, but I'm not.
I'm ARMY friendly.
Oh, okay.
I mean, BTS is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I wish I could interview them, but I didn't have the chance. For them to be able to speak at United Nations General Assembly as who they are.
That was a huge...
Greta Thunberg had to miss school and actually, chain herself to trees practically. But BTS, these boys, they just do what they do best, which is dance, sing, compose song, really meaningful lyrics, even though it's in Korean, but the whole world understands. Can you imagine being the first to perform in Jeddah? I mean, God forbid Madonna performed, but BTS did. So if we don't change how our mindset is about our journalism field and media industry, how are we going to appreciate things like that? Because K-pop and K-drama is not a fluke. If you do research, you will find that in the 90s, there were papers and white papers done about soft power of South Korea. So then that, from my understanding, it morphed into Hallyu Wave or K-pop and K-drama. So it's a strategic move. And now it bears reward. Where is ours? Do you know that the South Koreans came here in the 1970s? You were not born yet. I was a toddler. To study our industrial master plan. Look at where their industries is. This is a Samsung. They came here for industrial expertise
And now
in the 70s. Look at their cars. Look at the ships in the steel industry. The Terengganu people, I studied at ITM Dungung, Terengganu. We remember Purwaja. It didn't work out. Look at the steel. Without steel industry, you can't have the ship industry. And they don't even have raw materials like we do. Yet, we're still talking about Hari Wartawan Nasional and media freedom. Why can't we talk about how many startups, digital technology-wise, that we have of the media industry and creative content? Can you name me one local startup in digital media?
It's a struggle. You can't even think of one.
I'm old, but I'm asking this question. What does that mean? It shouldn't be a question, that's what I'm saying. So, Hari Wartawan Nasional should be looking at stuff like that. Why can't, okay fine, Malaysia is too small, market, just 32 million people. What, Indonesia doesn't speak Malay? Yes, they speak a bit of different Malay, but
But you can still understand in general.
I'm just going to say, so are the Kelantanese. Datuk Samuddin, I love you, Datuk Samuddin. No, Kelantanese, you speak Malay Kelantanese. I am from Perlis. I can say ayam, but I can speak with Datuk Samuddin. There's always a way. And now, push button 1 to hear it in Malay Kelantan. Push button 2 for Malay Minang. Push button 3 for Malay Java. Whatever lah. I mean, but if we don't start, you know, we used to make more films than Indonesia in a year.
What happened now? How do you think
we still have the best actress at the
Yes.
Academy Awards compared to Indonesia.
Fortunately, we do. But what do you think my generation can do to maybe trigger
Break
this
boundaries.
change? But won't we get maybe...
Glass half full.
Okay.
Okay, when you go to Starbucks, do you look at what's not there or what's there?
What's that?
Why make newsroom different than Starbucks? You spend a lot of money for Starbucks, right? It's not cheap, right?
I just had one last
You
night.
spend a lot of your time and age in the newsroom. Select the best of what's available and use it to the max. What do you use Starbucks for? To burn the midnight oil sometimes, to really do creative content. Edit this podcast or whatever it is. So, I'm just asking you to be true to your nature. Ask the question. So that,
Wouldn't we get in trouble for asking?
I want to turn the table now. If
no.
you don't have to worry about media freedom and rules and regulations, what is your favorite question and to whom?
Oh, wow. Maybe to the leaders of the country.
Exactly my point. Why can't you do it now? Imagine Sinar Newsroom, Sinar Daily, Sinar Harian.
They don't want to talk to media.
Okay, I'm just suggesting. I'm asking you to use media. I don't have a job, so I can say anything.
Okay.
Every day Sinar Harian, Sinar Daily talk about what? Do the politicians understand media? Every day, Dewan Rakyat session, Dewan Negara session, you bring a 20 questionnaire to gauge the literacy and awareness of politicians, YBs in both houses. Because they're the lawmakers. Right?
Yes.
Lawmakers can change laws, right?
Yes.
Or amend laws. So you have a 20 question. Work with journalism schools, Nottingham or UITM or USM. Craft it. Stand there. You all have passes, right? Saya ada kad bernama lagi. I'm so sorry, bernama, penerangan. So, I was thinking of one end and Stratcom, PMO, but sorry, that's another thing, but never mind. Just go there and ask the question. Then you can come out with data to show the literacy of the lawmakers, both houses, of media, media freedom, media industry, nasib wartawan dan pengarah. You know, who's to stop you from doing that? Just do it.
Would they entertain us though?
It doesn't
That's the
matter.
issue.
Right? Wartawan will never be really entertained because you want truth.
We want answers.
In order to get answers, you need the truth.
Yeah.
Who wants to give you truth freely? Especially politicians.
Of course, there's a cost.
Yes, so it's a give and take. If you don't ask, they will never give. If you ask, you have seen movies from Hollywood, right?
Yes.
They have freedom of information, they get the documents, but it's redacted. At least they get the document which is being redacted. We don't even get anything. Where is the Freedom of Information Act? You tell me. Right?
Yes.
So, all I'm saying, for Hari Wartawan Nasional, all good, ethics good, kebajikan good, but those are not at the heart of the survival of journalists and journalism of this country. At the heart of the survival is making the ecosystem more conducive. So I want 3 E's from this Hari Wartawan Nasional. I want the economic well-being perspective. I want the ecosystem, systemic perspective, and I want empathy from all, especially our leaders, both in politics, government, and also from the private sector, public. Because di Malaysia, kita masih banyak bergantung kepada kenyataan akhbar dan press conference sidang akhbar. Semua ini dikawal oleh ketua-ketua jabatan dan sebagainya. So if they don't change, this won't change. At the same time, I'm arguing the era and the time and the technology has come where press conferences and press release should be the most minimum of our coverage. The bulk of our coverage should be straight from the people.
Just asking.
We started with talking about rintihan rakyat.
Yes.
So we should end with the solutions of how to bring media and journalists closer to the rakyat. Forget what we cannot do. How do we harness using big data voices? Because the rakyat, they are on social media.
Yes.
So how do we pick it up? Do we verify? So when the country thinks of the fourth industrial revolution, the big data and artificial intelligence, they should also be thinking of the media industry creative content. Right now, I might be wrong, but I don't think so. We keep approaching it from so much feels out there. Banyak sangat fake ni, fake tu, tak betul, tak betul. You can try to padam the fire, but you will always be catching up. But if you go in and ensure good systems, good organizations, good journalists making good content, then you fight the bad with the light. But where is the light? Are we helping the light?
That's our job, right? At the end of the day, that's
I
our
almost wish that I was a politician, God forbid. Because if I am a penganggur now, I might be picked up by the media and become a media practitioner. I'm a media practitioner, I'm one of you before, but no one wants to pick me up. Apparently, populism works better nowadays.
Yes.
But
This is how it works
is
now.
populism journalism?
Afraid not. It wouldn't last.
So kalau kita nak popular and populist, tak payahlah bercakap tentang fakta dan etika. Sometimes we need to swallow and do the right thing, even with brickbats, because that's what we're supposed to do. And that doesn't mean not being profitable and revenue-wise. Disney has lost thousands of subscriptions. You know why? Because Bob Iger and the leadership say, rather than just go pure eyeballs, I want quality viewing, which pays premium money for premium good content. Why can't we go that way?
Someday.
The Edge survived. They were on the wrong side of a previous leadership. Now they bet on the right horse, whatever. But they like, even if they only have 25 to 30,000 subscribers, but they pay premium. Isn't that what we are doing? When we subscribe to Netflix, we pay for quality viewing.
Yeah.
But don't be penganggur like me lah. If you penganggur like me, jobless, you finish already all the new Netflix. So
But
you
it's a
keep
bit
paying, but
difficult
there's
lah.
nothing new.
But it's a bit difficult to, I mean, I'm pretty sure the media industry would want to produce a lot of quality stories, but sometimes it just doesn't get the attention that it should receive.
If I had my way, you be sitting beside Wabi Fahmi Fadil
And question, should I call him in?
How many entrepreneurs are we helping to have so that Netflix, Paramount Plus, Disney, all these people need content.
Yeah.
And we know they're struggling with refreshing new content. Ada ke content-content made in Malaysia yang hanya untuk Netflix, hanya untuk Disney? Why not? Why can't we even package news and current affairs? Because they're so illiterate about us. They think we're just some, whatever.
They don't take it.
Yeah.
They don't take us seriously.
The day that we only rely on Ministry of Foreign Affairs to tell about Malaysia and Malaysia is gone. You are the best ambassador. I'm sure those English people that you've touched, or the Brits that you've touched at Knots and whatnots when you were there, they now know us better. And that's why it's called social media.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be called government media. It's called social because socialization happens. So, I'm not belittling anyone here, but
You're stating facts.
I'm begging, as an old journalist, editor, and anchor, please make Hari Wartawan deeper and more rooted in where it matters. And where it matters is this. If journalists and editors don't feel good doing what they do in our country, then we have no business talking about journalists and journalism.
And we can't help the right yet also to get the message across.
Put it this way, what was the first Surat Khabar newspaper in Malaysia? Al-Imam from Penang. Why Penang? Why not KL? Why not JB or Melaka? Because journalism follows where it's needed the most. Penang, as one of the first entry port in Malaysia, has that confluence of people, commerce, culture. Dr. San Yat-sen was telling you, he even came to Penang, you know. So, if journalism is not there, how do we achieve masyarakat madani?
We can't. And that's what we want to, that is the message today that I want to get across in conjunction with Hari Wartawan Nasional and Chekem. Unfortunately, I would love to chat with you more. Although we already chatted like an hour and a half before we came in.
Understood.
But
I hope I don't get your license revoked. But, yeah.
I don't know. If I get in trouble, I'll just use your name.
Yeah.
Right? I can
give
do
you
that.
permission.
Okay, I'll just use your name. But thank you so much.
Last 30 seconds.
Yes.
You know Nelson Mandela, right?
Yes.
So he was put in jail for nearly 3 decades. The Robben Island is named the jail. It's an island just off the mainland of Africa, but you can see it's a torture.
Yes.
So there's no heating. So you know Hollywood movies where in cold countries they burn oil inside the drum.
Yeah.
So they do that. Then they push Mandela to be nearest. Then Mandela said, no, let me be the outer because I'm old. The youngest should be closest to the fire. I don't say I am an analogy, old. So I should be in the
I'm
outer.
the young.
You should be the nearest to the epic center. If KKD wants to know what to do for Hari Wartawan Nasional, this is the stakeholder.
Yeah.
What's right by her is going to be right by me because I believe the younger generation are even more powerful than anything I can do as an old journalist.
I hope that will be the future of our media news industry. Thank you so much, Chekem, for taking time to speak with us. And I hope a lot of you would take, it was really a fruitful conversation and there was no bad intention. It was just facts, the truth, always, as a journalist.
Sinar,
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to our Wacana Podcast. If you missed this episode, make sure to log on to sinardili.my. And the full episode will also be on our YouTube channel and also our social media platforms. Make sure to follow us to get the latest news updates on Malaysia and perhaps maybe more progressive news on the journalism industry in Malaysia.
Selamat Hari Wartawan to you.
Selamat Hari Wartawan to you and the rest of the country. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Atira Minuddin. I'll see you soon.